Hello, hello, hello. Here we go, go, go. All right. So finally, yesterday, I could I could say that I got all my skills completed for all the players, and I've already built the function and the ratings function to apply ratings to all those skills. But it's not ideal. I'm not sure if I want it completely that way, but I think it might be all right for this first go around. So, what I need to do, I think, is I'm going to dump the old player pool, and hopefully everything is going to work here. Because I got to dump these old parts. Drop collection, and then stats. I probably don't need to drop it, but I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to drop player stats. Stats. Wait, which I got to make sure I drop the right one though. This is the flat player stats. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we're going to drop flat this one. Drop this. And this is player stats. All right, and then I have to drop the scaling values because they all got to get generated again. Yes. I say that. I say that tentatively, and if it doesn't work, I'll know I have to. What I'm worried about is in most cases, I have all of these tables get dynamically created if they don't exist. Um, so I shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to exist. All right. So I have player pool. Everything is initialized. I have my teams data. I think all that's there. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and run this. Player skills, we're gonna say go run dot. See what, hopefully it compiles. I don't think I have anything that's not compiling, but we'll see. Da, 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 da. It might take a while. There's a fair amount of data that has to be generated in all this. So what I would like to do next, or at some point, maybe not next, um, is have it drop out some sample data when it runs this. Build it and give me some players. Just so I can see them. Ultimately, I should be able to go in and, all right, what happened? I haven't, wait, I'm actually nothing. Oh, did I not do it right? What did I do? Did I not run it right? Go run dot, oh, maybe I have to run the function. Successfully loaded in config.go. I may have not called the function. I do need to have it do that. Go run. What was it doing that whole time? Create system players 2009. And let's go ahead and say rebuild. I don't think. Oh, I have to say dash year 2009 dash rebuild. Yeah. And we're off. So these are all of my functions getting called because they have these debug get stat. I don't know why it's doing a debug. Probably because I'm in debug mode. I probably need to remove that debug get stat because it's not. As you can see, it's running way too many things, and it makes it look clunky. But it's just showing that it's getting this. And plus, it's chopping off because there's a limit to the size of my output my terminal. So it's doing thousands of lines, but it's because it's doing 1,400 players. So, and this is every stat for every player because they all get skills. It might be interesting to look to see if any of them come back zeros. They shouldn't. A lot going on. It's busy, busy. Coding turtle. Yeah, and I recently uninstalled some. But you know which one I like the best? You'll never guess which extension I like the best. The best extension. Okay, well, all right. So it's probably not fair to say that because some of these are really useful. But click up link, of course, and that's because I wrote it. And it's really been. It's not just that I wrote it. I mean, that's one cool feature. That's why I like it. But the fact is, it has made my life so much easier as far as tracking my project tasks go. So, now that it's working pretty much the way I like it, some of these are kind of. I feel like some of them are redundant. Some of them don't work very well. Like the Git lens, okay? Git lens and Git lens inspect. I don't use them that often. I'm tempted to remove them, but they are kind of sort of useful. Make file, well, I need that because that's part of my, I run make, so I need that. What is project manager? I don't even, what is that? I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's a Git thing. There's a lot of Git part. A lot of this is Git stuff. Containers, this is from Docker, I think. Yeah, so this is all my Docker stuff. The Edge tools, not that useful. I don't want the Edge stuff I run. I typically run it somewhere. I mean, I just run it in Edge. I run my folder, it opens up Edge. I don't know how useful this has been to me. It was supposed to allow me to run in my environment here, but it was hit or miss, and I was like, it's just as easy to click the link and open it up and fix it in that. This is my click up link, which tracks all of my tasks that I have loaded in my code, and then I can go to the ones that are not complete if I wanted to. See, these are all in test already, but so I still got one that shows it's in development, so I probably should fix that because I thought I had all these marked off. But so like I can click there and it'll take me to that piece of code where I have the click up link here and it shows in development. So I probably have to, what does this one say? It's kick skill. What the heck? Why do I have kick skill over here in my offensive skills? That's probably why I never moved it to the right location. Shame on me. That's probably just in the wrong place. Or it might have been a test one because I was testing to see if my stuff works. But anyway, then what else have I got? Let's see, I have, Mongo database. Got to have my Mongo database one because this whole thing is using Mongo database. Testing, I have to have this testing thing, but that's one that doesn't work very reliably either. I've had a lot of problems getting my test stuff to work using the test tools. Of course, this is VS Code built-in extensions. I don't know what this is. Remote Explorer. Dev containers, there is no. Is that a Docker thing too? I don't even know what that is. Remote Explorer, dev containers. Get started. Oh yeah, that's a Docker thing. I already have Docker installed. I haven't been doing much with Docker. I haven't been using these dev container, this Docker stuff all that often inside of VS Code. I just go run my Docker environment and go do my stuff there. So this might come in handy when I start doing a little bit more Docker later, because I have it all set up to do different environments for a test environment and then a release environment, or prod environment. So actually I have a dev, a test, and a prod environment, and then I have my actual dev environment. The actual dev is not Docker. And then I go to dev environment where I can kind of make sure everything works on deploy. And if everything works there, then I go, okay, let's send it to test, which is just a place for me to run everything on Docker. It's kind of, you know, in most cases, I've already done my testing. That might be where I might try to run the app and just see if everything's working. Prod is the one that I'm going to actually get out there and make sure it's working, assuming I'm deploying everything correctly. And then that's also where I'm going to actually have it accessible to people who want to download it and use the tool. Look at that. I have no errors. No errors encountered during processing. That is pretty good. Let's see here. This is the summary of how everything went. Skills calculated. I have run defense, 221 players. Run blocking got calculated. So if things are working the way they're supposed to be working, I should have had 1,484 for everybody. Kickoff skill only got calculated for 45 players. So everybody's supposed to get every skill. So I'm obviously not quite got it solved. So I did have 1,485 players, non-zero offensive stats. Players had non-zero general stats. My defensive stats only got 361 players. So I may not have set up my code right on some of those, some of my tests, or some of my skill setups, because everybody's supposed to run through every thing. And then even if they don't have the skill, what it's supposed to do is create give them a generic value, which is basically the minimum value less a little bit, so that even if I have like the worst cornerback in the league, everybody else gets a little less than him. That's the idea. Every non-cornerback, every player with no cornerback skills, stats for me to build off of would have a slightly less value. But it does make it so everybody theoretically can be put in any position. So it looks like all of my players, this is kind of interesting. How come I have 1479 got overall and 1120, but nobody got 20 to 30 and 30 to 40? What the heck? Definitely have some bugaboos. Let's go look at let's go look at the actual data. Go over to Mongo database. Plays. Oops, got to refresh, I think. There it is, player pool. There is my player pool. Player 1485. Let's see what we got here. What is he supposed to be? No position. Oh, that, you know, this could be part of my problem. All my guys are, I got to give them all a position. I don't, all right, so we got general skills, got his speed and base conditioning, offensive skills. A lot of them will say, then I'm getting zeros, which isn't all that great because everybody's supposed to get a minimum, which means I'm not getting the minimums. Definitely got skill ratings. Okay, so these totally don't look right. I should not have a bunch of ones. Oh, these are the ratings. That still shouldn't be a bunch of ones. In fact, my ratings don't even start at 1. All right, well, that's the first time I've tried to run the everybody at once plan. You can see, not everybody at once. Hey, Borgamax, how you doing, man? All right, so this one has better looking numbers. He's got this is Fred Taylor's. He's got running back. You can see he's got skills going. I'm doing good, man. But I still get too many zeros. Like I said, they're supposed to get a minimum value, so I shouldn't be getting zeros. Everybody's supposed to get like a value that's at least a minimum. So I've got a few little quirks going in the way my guys with no skills in an area are not getting the minimums like they're supposed to. They're getting zeros. And then I have the skill ratings, which is part of the plan. But you can see it's supposed to be rating on 1 to 99, and all I'm getting is 1 and 99, except for a couple of them. He's got a 4.8 and a 1.4. Yeah, I got some quirks. My skill ratings function needs to be adjusted. I may not have actually fully tested that one anyway. I created it, and I knew it needed to be ran against all the data, and this is the first time I had all the data in there to run it. So that's probably part of the problem. And then minimums. I got to go check to see why some of my minimums aren't getting set correctly. But hey, it's progress. I finally got all my guys loading, all my skills are running, and I immediately knew some of these guys are going to have an issue because looking at my what items ran, I'm not getting full numbers. These should be full numbers of players. If I have 1,500 players going in, I should have 1,500 on every single one of these. So, oh well, hey, we're making progress. Our skills are getting there. We did run it for everybody in the general and offensive. Defensive did not run for everybody, or at least for whatever reason, they only 361 actually got stats. So that's not good. It's probably just the defenders, but the fact is everybody should be going through there. So we're still kind of off. I'm hoping, like, my goal here is to get this solved today. Get this processes running today, and then I can start running. Then I think with a player pool loaded, I can actually start working on UI again. Yay! I haven't done that in a few months now. I've kind of left the UI stuff out of the picture because I've been trying to get all of this back end player pool built up so that I could start loading players and actually build teams that players can use. So that means now I can go create a page, and hopefully I can click on a page. I'm going to try and get some basic things going with it. So when I click on a page, you can click on a player. I'm trying to decide. I haven't even solved yet how I want to do player display. A lot of the football games I've seen so far are very much generic. They're just a list. You got player and lists of players, and then you can click on those players to see more. Yeah, that works because it's very space friendly. But I'm really, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something. I mean, there's a couple of games I've seen that don't have a full roster. In other words, they don't play 45, 51 man rosters. They play, 20 man. They might play 20 person rosters. I don't even know if they all do that. Some of them only play like 10 or 12 because they're designed to be just like a card collection game. You get a few. My game's going to have collection elements, but that's not the base of the game because I'm not building a microtransaction game, or at least it's not going to live off of microtransactions. Okay, so this is going to be part of a problem. I just saw that. Can't have game played not started mod. Huh. I got to create that mod. That's important. Functions that use those are going to get bad values. Could be part of what's going on. Anyway, so I want to come up with a way that just displays them uniquely. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the card. All right. I'm leaning towards doing cards. but not because I want them to be the collectible. That's just the way I want to display them. I was thinking like really tiny cards with a face on it, and then you click on it and it'll show you his stats, and then you could flip the card and it'll show you more stats, you know, based on how the play is set up. But again, if you have to, my game is going to be doing the full 51 man roster. So is that going to be too clunky? I don't know. I got to come up with something that doesn't, I don't want to spend a bunch of time doing something and then go, ew, this doesn't work. It's just not going to work. So I've seen a number of like, because I want it to work on the phone, right? So you can see your players while you're on your phone. So phones are small. I mean, my phone is big, and I'm actually building it. A lot of games don't build for a fold, you know, a Z fold. They, in fact, a lot of them kind of don't work right if you're on a fold because the aspect ratio is broken. So of course I will design for it to work on a fold. If you have a fold, you're good to go. But I think I'm leaning towards, in fact, I may have mentioned this in the past, that I was going to build this for the phone as the first target. But I cannot for the life of me come up with the monetization process because mine is not going to have paywalls. It's not going to be gacha where you got to get cards or collections and you got to get all that crap. And so and on the phone, games don't really sell. They just do really bad selling if you just have a flat fee. So what I'm actually thinking is it's going to be a PC first game, and people can buy it on PC, play it on the PC, but on the PC you can buy like at the add-on, which would be the phone connector. And then it's just the phone version of the game that connects to your account and runs. But it makes it so that the flat fee structure is more accepted because flat fee things in PC are more acceptable. And not everybody's going to want to play on their phone. I don't know why they wouldn't. To me, that's kind of like the best place. But you might want to control it on your PC anyway. A lot of the best football managers, the most popular ones, are on the PC because they can do more and display more. And that's another thing. What goes on the phone? That might allow me to slim down what goes on the phone to just the play elements. I want to get as much on there as possible, but if it's an extension of the PC version, it allows me to let it focus on what the phone does best. Because things like, if I do decide to include the play editor, which I've already kind of created, and it needs a little bit more, you know, I'll have to tweak it some, but all the plays I'm creating with my play editor I created. And so, because it puts all of the format and all the play rules and instructions into the system. And then I have a thing where it's loading up. It creates an image of that play, and I can upload it to the phone. But if I decide to include a play editor, it doesn't work on the phone. It's just you can't. It's just too clunky, too tiny, just doesn't work. In fact, my play editor is created in React. It's a web element. So I haven't even decided how or if that could even work on the phone. I don't even know if it's possible. So, because the cool tool I have that's capturing chunks of the page and turning them into images that I can use as objects within the game only works in React. So I would have to find out if that same functionality exists in Unity, or if I have to rewrite it. That's why I say I don't know if the play editor. But if I do allow the play editor to be available, it will be available on the web for people to create, edit, change page plays. But there's a lot of problems with play editing. I mean, it's not that it's functionally a problem, it's practically a problem within the game. For one, people creating duplications, plays that go in, I don't want to, because every play needs, one company in my life did an amazing play editor. Okay, I won't say one because I haven't played all the football games that do play editors. I don't know very many that do at all, but Dynamics created a version of football in the 90s that they allowed a play editor, and it was amazing. It was an amazing play editor. You could do whatever you wanted. And mine lets you do a lot, but I'm afraid of how that translates into letting other people do it. You know, they'll find a way to create something that doesn't work, and then I'm debugging their plays, and it's like, ugh, I don't know if I want to do that. I'd rather just create the plays and debug them before I release them, make sure they're all solid, and get them out there for people. So anyway, I'm digressing. I mean, at least I'm on topic. All too often, I'm not even on topic. I just start talking about random other stuff. What the heck? All right. So let's see if I can figure out what's going on. First, let's go make sure I get this fixed. So I'll go over to my... Now, did I create it and then not... not put it in? Or did I put it in and then not build it? Nope, I did not put it in. It literally does not exist. Games played, not started mod. Let's see, what is this being used for? Base conditioning. How are we using that value? All right, adjust availability rate considering partial credit for games played but not started. Used in other skill calculations. Suggest players that did not start could have performed better during the time they did play in relation to full-time starters. Okay, so what this is trying to do, the whole point of this function or this little validation is think about third down experts. Guys that just come in on third down. He's supposed to be a rush specialist, or so he only plays like, he's not a starter. He just comes in on third down to rush the quarterback. Or maybe you have a fullback that's not really a starter, but maybe he's just a really big refrigerator Perry kind of guy that comes in on occasion and blocks or maybe runs for short distances, but he's not a starter. And then there are players like that don't start, but they have utility skills that they bring them in for. Like, I don't even know, I think in receivers they don't have 4 starters. They usually only have 2 or 3 starters, but they might have a 5 receiver set or a 4 receiver set. Some of those guys who come in at their position might be performing really well for whatever reason, but they only come in for half a game. It doesn't mean it's that they don't play. It just means that they're just not getting all the opportunities. So this whole functionality is supposed to allow for the possibility that that person who came in is actually playing pretty well for the time that they're in, but it does also kind of consider the fact that, yeah, they could be playing kind of well, but they are also, the whole thing is it's base conditioning, and this game penalizes people who don't play for their base conditioning. Really all it's doing is saying, it's not saying that they're not conditioned. What it's saying is their availability is going to be less. So if a guy came in, had a spectacular 2 or 3 games, but was injured, and so I calculate what they did. Their averages are awesome. They played well for 3 games, but they can't come in to the game. They're going to have a base conditioning that's going to limit how much they can play. They may have decent stats, but they're going to have a really bad conditioning value, which basically means that they're not going to be as available to you to play. Might make them cheaper. Their salary for that season or whatever might be cheaper, or at least at the start. The way the game's set up is this just how the players come into the game. And then eventually you're going to be a lot of that stuff will change over time as the game itself starts to implement and change their skills and stats. But the way they come into the game from their base stats, we'll say, okay, well, this guy's coming in with these skills and stats, but he's injured. And he's going to have to, this base conditioning, which is going to stay with him forever, except he can get more fit. You can train him and do stuff to help him improve and get better. So he might be able to start taking advantage of those better skills as time goes on, as he gets to be more conditioned. So yeah, it's kind of like set up to allow for interesting ways of putting your initial teams together, and then try to build off of those. So anyway, back to it. Let's see if I can figure out this modifier is supposed to be, all right, games played minus games started times games played not started, which is supposed to be what though? Suggest player that didn't start. How much of a value is that? Is that just an... Probably should have identified. So I have a... I have this thing here, but I don't think I put that in here. I probably should have. I just started building this chart, and you can see I haven't even got it complete. But you know what? I think I actually created another function. Phew. Right. Self-assignment of big play ratio to big play. Oh, wait, what? Oh, weird. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Oh, this... Obviously, I've got some bugs. What are you doing, man? This doesn't look right at all. Why did I do that? Was that supposed to be something? Huh. Also, then I don't even have a... Oh, this one's not even doing the... Okay, so this is one of those skills that's not getting set. That's what the problem is. Ah, and that's the 1.0. A lot of these guys are getting 1.0s. Oh, yeah, I got... This is silly. Let's take that out. I don't even know why I'm doing that. Not sure what I was doing. I must have changed something, and then for whatever reason didn't catch that. This is in test, right? It is. I'm gonna have to run the big play ratio test, the big play skill test. So some of these guys, I got to get them all to have player ratios, otherwise they're going to end up with the default, which isn't necessarily bad. And I need to find, so he has their total touches and games played is 0, so this is going to have to be get scale min scale, oh, I think it's scale min value. There it is. And that's supposed to be -29. There we go. And then down here, if they don't have any, but they fall into one of those, they're getting kicked out with the big play ratio. That's fine, but not all players are created equal. In other words, a QB, big play ratio, is going to be different from a wide receiver, tight end, running back, big play ratio. So I may have to change as long as we have the position. Yeah, I may have to do this a little bit different. I'm going to change my ratios here. Let's change this up. I'm going to go here. I don't like creating these kind of things, but I think it's necessary. And I don't know, why do I have it be ratio? Big play potential? Let's call it big play potential, because I don't know why I have it being called ratio. Big play potential QB. And then potential weight mod. What is the potential weight mod? Calculate big play potential calculate. Let's see what that is. It's 1. I think I know what that's supposed to be. I kind of came up with another solution for this at a point, and a better one actually, and a more standardized one. Big play ratio. Scale value to range. I have it set to 1, so multiplying it by 1 doesn't sound very useful. I think I may have done that on the off chance that the numbers are too big, but that doesn't really make sense, because I can just scale them differently. If that number is a 1, what am I going to do with it? Two, three. I'm not going to use it. I don't know why I did that. I think I may have had good intentions with this, but it doesn't make sense. Because I think a lot of these, big play potential is one of the first skills. Hey Hogwarts, how you doing, man? Oh, it's one, that's unfortunate with the headphones. You and everybody else, man. I've seen that all too much. Yeah, it's not a thing. I don't know why that, I don't understand that, I don't understand that scam. I'm not sure, what I mean is, I don't understand what the point of it is. What I could do, let's just do this, just to get everybody, because either that or I'm putting returns all the way down and I don't get a centralized point. So I can put an else if in here, or yeah, because then I have to do a scale min on all. I'm basically doing I'm treating all these as their own little animal. doing one for everybody because they all use slightly different big play tools. Which means I got to get everybody set. Some guys don't even have positions. I got to get that fixed. It's just my source data doesn't have the positions for everybody, which is causing me consternation. Huh. It's like, what am I doing with this big play ratio thing? What is that? Oh, that's just if it's, oh, I see. No, okay. I'm just creating that as a default just so that I can instantiate it at the beginning. Which is fine, but it should come out as something for everybody. Everybody gets something. Right. It's just the initializer. Base position, the reason I call it base position instead of just get position is because the players can be put in any position you want them in. So that's their base. This is the position they come into the game with. But if you decide to drag a guy from quarterback to running back, he'll play running back, but that's not his base position. His base position is quarterback. So let's see here. I am going to do this. We're going to say get scan in value. And then we're going to do the same thing down here. Sure, wide receiver. Go here. Come on, figure it out. Thank you. It's like, now it's kind of doing it on its own. You know what I want? Good job. Running back, very good. And let's call that big play potential. And you know the drill. Come on, drop it in there. Fine. There you go. And then we return that. Okay. Now we should get some defaults for these guys that are usable. I think I may even change this to other. I don't like other. There shouldn't be others, but until I can get all my players assigned to a position. Like I have running back, wide receiver, tight end, and QB, but I should have other players like defense, lineman, I don't know. Big play potential is a lot about busting it for big plays, running, or there's a number of other things that can happen for big plays though. And what this is it's a bonus. It's going to change values. It's a modifier to help create scenarios under which more chance of success occurs. So we should be getting more values from big play potential. I'm going to run. All right, so this is fine. What is, I'm going to turn off these get stats. I don't know. Oops. Oh. What else? Individual. Oh, I still haven't put individual back either. That's a pretty big one. Oh, I think I don't have that anymore. I just took it out, didn't I? So that's good. All right, so I don't want it printing these all the time. The no mapping found is kind of important, but I think I'm going to get rid of the found option. Let's go ahead and dump this. Huh. No mapping found for stat longest field goal. But the no mapping, that's what I want. Okay, so let's comment this out. I'm not going to do the I found it, but I definitely want to, I want the did not find it. That'll make it a lot easier to fix what's broken. Longest field goal, no mapping for that one. Which I may not have put that one in. See, some stuff is slipping through the cracks. Did I, you know, and I didn't test the longest field goal one because all it is what is their longest field goal? It's like the simplest stat, but that's why it should be tested because you still got to make sure it maps to the data. And I think that's the problem. I didn't create the map to it. All right, every function needs to be unit tested. Be right back. All right, so I kind of want to keep that get stat for when I'm doing a write logs, but All right, well, let's go fix this. We got to think how I want to do that. All right, so we got get player stats, which is way up here, and we got field goal attempts, and aha, it's not there. Big surprise. So it did say it wasn't. It didn't find it. So yeah, longest field goal. Is that what it's? I think it's. Let's see if I'm right. Push that longest field goal. Longest field goal. That's where I'm at. Function, get longest field goal. And it is longest field goal. Okay, so we are in the right spots. Let's go back here. Is that what it's called? data says LG. Yep, that's it. Good job. All right, so now what else didn't get found? No mapping found. Kind of looks like that's the only one, because a lot of these are getting set just fine. I think that might be the only one. The only obvious one is the no mapping found. All right. And then this guy, which I think I successfully took out of play. At least so I thought. Oh, am I using it somewhere else too? Nope. Oh, maybe I didn't take this one out. All right, so I didn't create it, but I'm not sure. I think what it's supposed to be is a value that that amplifies the result. But I thought I calculated this. Like I had a special function that's job was to build a logic for this. You know, I haven't even, I'm getting distracted. I don't think I finished here, did I? I clean that up, put the scale mins in. Okay, I did. Never mind, that one's good. I'll have to run a test for that one. How about, let's go utility. Get base position. Base position is not yeah, that's different. Create player source stats. Functions, convert to int. Scale to range. What else we got here? Service. System players. Is that all this does? Process players, system stats. Log processing results. Huh. What's going on here? Oh. So it's not. Try each possible path for the stat. Oh, so we're not doing anything? Oh. Oh, I see. Oops, don't want to do that. That'll break things for sure. No. Toggle it. That means turn it off. Oh, you're dumb. Alright, what I need to do is just go there. Right. Oh. That's fixed. Well, I thought I had a function that handled. All right, so this should not be here. That should be in the special teams skills. Kickoff skill. Oh, kick skill was an orphaned skill. That's probably what I did. Orphaned in that I created a secondary task that actually was more precise and as far as naming goes, because kick skill does not say if it's kickoff or field goals. So I created another one and then I basically just didn't fix it. So yeah. Wait, what? Since you're using ClickUp, do you like it? I'm trying to make similar software with a friend of mine that's more focused on calendar. Oh, you're trying to create some like a ClickUp replacement? Um, yeah, I like ClickUp. Could it be better? The biggest problem with ClickUp is that it's got bugs. I mean, sometimes things don't load up in timely manner. Sometimes you make a change and it doesn't. The thing is with ClickUp is it allows you to do almost everything you could want to do. But in doing that, it doesn't necessarily get it across the board very well. You know, it's like sometimes things, like I said, don't perform right. It can be a little confusing. The learning curve is a little steep. There's so many programs that are like that. I mean, I know you guys, you know, you're working on a tool like that, but just be sure you're coming up with something that stands out because there are like 5 or 6 or more, 10 tools that do stuff like that. There's Notion, Jira, of course there's Azure, DevOps, and ClickUp, and there's just so many tools. And I only named the ones that are coming off the top of my head. So there's a lot of competition in that field. So, unless you're just using it for your own, but I, plus, ClickUp they give you access to the API, so I'm able to use these. I have my ClickUp tools. Yeah, well, you'd have to, right? Just like I know a whole bunch of the different football games. In fact, if you're, anytime you're building something, you got to know your competition, right? I mean, that's kind of the thing. Um, so I even have an entire workspace dedicated to a bunch of the online football manager apps. So I even have an entire workspace dedicated to a bunch of the online football manager apps that exist online and on phones. Like my phone, I've got an entire folder with every single football game that exists on Android, American football. I even got a couple of soccer ones on there because the ones that people say are really good, so I can see what they like about those. Um, but like this is front office football 9 and 8, and there's red zone, and there's so many of them. So yeah, you got to know your competition. What are these other games doing? What are they doing wrong? How are you going to stand out from the other guys, right? I mean, if you're going to create another option. I think, isn't there two that are like, that sound the same, like Notion and Motion? I think Motion is the one that is supposed to really be strong with the AI scheduling, which I thought was cool, but I didn't want to pay for it. that's that's the thing. And here's the other thing: ClickUp for individuals is free. I can do everything I want in ClickUp and I don't have to pay. You know, obviously if I start building a team or anything like that, I may have to. But it's just, now that I've got my ClickUp link tool that I created, I'm in the environment now because I'm so used to using it. I did find a bug though. Well, I won't even call it a bug because it wasn't even something I knew. I had to plan for it. So it's an update I need to make to my ClickUp link tool. Is that it'll read from sprints, but only reads the tasks that are built in the sprint. Sprints reference tasks from other folders. So if I was to go to my ClickUp link and create a new link, and then I go to the sprint progress and pick my sprint, like I'm working in sprint 7, none of my items show up because they're not actual items in the sprint. They're like references. And so I have to I have to edit ClickUp link to be able to read those references and get the actual items that are showing. It's just something I didn't know until I tried to reference an item in the sprint. So I was like, oh, well, I can't pull the item out of the sprint. Would be nice though, because then I can make sure I check off everything in the sprint. But, oh well. So now I could actually go, no problem, and find all of those tasks that are in the sprint, but I have to go get them from their source, right? So I can go to player skills, and then like one of these items is, I think all these items are actually in there. But like if I wanted to have a new item for test, I can say create and then go task test accuracy skill. And then I don't need that one. So it'll put it in here, creates the task, and there it is. So now I have my ClickUp link tool here. And then it now exists over here, but I would have to go to my players and go to player skills. And there's my test accuracy skill. So it kind of puts it over here in ClickUp for me. And I can edit it, change it. I can assign myself to it because I am the only developer in my project right now. And if I wanted to, I can move it on to the in development phase because that's where I would probably have to be at. But these tests already exist, so I can technically mark it off as just say it's done. But I just wanted to show you the example of how that how it's set up. But and then you see every now and then that it updates. So it's what I like is that this little functionality of being able to navigate all of the links that I created, so I can actually go to the one I want to work on. That's why it'd be nice if I can get the sprint one loaded, because then I can see, you know, which items are in a sprint and go, oh, let's go click on that one and try to finish my sprint items. Because right now they're just tasks and I don't remember which ones are in the sprint and which ones aren't. But yeah, motion pricing is really, really expensive. Actually, a lot of them are kind of expensive. Well, okay, when you're unemployed for over a year, everything's expensive. there's not a cheap thing out there. The things I'm paying for right now, I did pay a year's at the lowest tier of Copilot, so I have my AI that I can use. I've maxed it out. Usually before the end of the month, I'll max it out. I haven't been using it as much this month because I'm working on things that AI can't help me with, which is like all the logic for these skills and stuff. But once I start getting back into the Unity stuff and some of the areas where I'm not all that proficient, I may need to get its input on how to fix and move to the next steps. Also, I was using, now the only tools I used just to try them out, Azure DevOps. You can get a free version of Azure DevOps, and I'll tell you, it's really good. It just feels like it's a bit much. It's a little clunky. Plus, I wanted to see if I could get an API call into Azure DevOps, and I don't know if I can. Uh, so I didn't know if I wanted to build my ClickUp Link or Azure Link tool against Azure. And then I started learning that ClickUp can connect to some other tools that, like, I might be able to do some GitHub connections, and it just seemed to have uh, more interconnectability than Azure did. But Azure's got some good stuff. I may not just know everything about it. My last job had Azure DevOps, and I used it a lot there. And I started off building everything in Azure DevOps. But once I started realizing that the things are a little bit more direct and simpler in ClickUp, I think it's just Azure DevOps is a bit heavy. It's just very corporate, and it works well. It's got a lot, and I kind of went away from it just because I felt like this was more friendly, more user friendly. Then I also have tried Jira, and Jira, I don't know. When you go onto LinkedIn and you're looking for a job, there's a lot of people out there. There's more jobs asking if you have Jira experience than there are that use ClickUp. And I don't know why, but Jira really is, I don't know. I found it very limited. I wasn't impressed with unlimited. That's nice. That is nice. Unlimited is nice. Um, yeah, there's a lot of these guys on YouTube that are they review and they talk about all the AIs. So, but they're always talking about, oh yeah, well I got the $250 a month plan of this, this, and this, and I'm like, well, aren't you special? It's like, uh, that's not me. I'm not buying I'm not paying $250 a month, but I am thinking I'm about to. I tried Bezi. Now Bezi is an AI specifically designed to work with Unity, and I tried it out for a while, and honestly, I really liked it. Uh, I was impressed. I don't know what AI model it uses, if it uses its own or what it's using, but it just works well with Unity. And it seems to understand what your code is better when you're working in Unity. Um, Now you can use Copilot in Visual Studio. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't think it exists in Visual Studio Code. But if you go to VS Code here, there's not like a way to see, at least unless they added it. I don't see it though. Um, yeah, so there's not a really easy way to know how much. Yeah. Oh, do they? That's cool. Maybe that'll be helpful. Might be better. Maybe I wait for that instead of maybe I'll have to try it and see, because Bezies is integrated too, but uh, one that's built by Unity itself might be even better. I'll have to check that out. Um, but if you use Visual Studio, if you have, okay, this is only if you use Copilot, by the way. So if you don't use Copilot, ignore me. But I am going to show this because I always want to let people know that this exists, and not because I don't think everybody does. Because a lot of people use VS Code and they don't use Visual Studio. But if you do have VS Studio, which is free, you can get a free version of it. The dev version or developer version, whatever. And Copilot works in Visual Studio. It's a little bit different. They don't update it at the same rate, same pace. I think right now it's pretty close to a match, but it's not exactly the same as the one in VS Code. But one of the nice things about it is if you click on your, let's see if it connects first. They have this option here called Copilot Consumptions. I've only seen this in Visual Studio. it's hard to find how much of your monthly usage you've used. But if you go to Visual Studio and go to Copilot and go to Copilot consumptions, it tells you how much of your premium requests you've used. I'm at 6% because the month just started, and I haven't been using it a lot. And this is so cool. It's not that bad. Visual Studio, it's a little slow to load, but once it runs, I'll tell you, Visual Studio is way better, way better at debugging. Debugging just works in Visual Studio. Anything I have running in Visual Studio, my React applications, my C# applications, anything I get running in Visual Studio just works with the debugging. Your breakpoints work, everything just works. Visual Studio is a pain in the backside. I rarely can get the debugging stuff to work correctly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I get weird errors. Things don't break where they're supposed to. It's just I dread trying to debug in Visual Studio Code. And luckily for me, most of the stuff I've been trying to debug lately has been my React application and the C# stuff in Unity, because Unity will attach to Visual Studio. In fact, it's kind of where you want to do your stuff in Visual Studio, because Unity and Visual Studio kind of work together with their C#. And the debugging just works. Everything just does what it's supposed to. So there's a time and place for everything. VS Code or Visual Studio is the king as far as live debugging goes. But anyway, having this feature, super awesome. It works great for Copilot. But you can't install extensions and stuff. So my little, my ClickUp link won't work in there. I mean, maybe you can. I haven't tried. I don't think you can. I don't know how extensions work in Visual. You can install some stuff. You can create Visual Studio extensions. I want to see what AI says about this. How difficult is it to update a VS Code extension I created to work in Visual Studio 2022? See, then I have to rewrite it in C#. Yeah, that's a total change. I would love to use my extension over there, but I don't know if I want to rewrite it. I could probably have it. I could probably use AI a lot. In fact, AI helped me to create a lot of it, but eventually I got to the point, because I'm not a TypeScript expert, but I'm a code. I'm okay. Well, I say coding expert. What I mean by coding expert is I can read code pretty well, given just looking at it, even if it's not a language I'm completely familiar with, because I understand mostly what's happening. And if I don't understand the basic stuff, I can read it or whatever. And that's the only reason I'm able to do this app, because last December I did not know, I had never heard of Go. I didn't even know what Go was. I asked AI, what are the common programming languages used for game development, because I had never done a game developed. And it goes JavaScript, Java, C# it mentioned too. I was surprised by that. And Go. Go is like the most popular though, or one of the most common. I'm like, Go? What the heck is Go? Typing in, what is Go? And it explains what Go is. And I'm like, okay. Oh, really? It's just another language. Weird. Okay. Let's use Go. So I decided to start doing it in Go. So a lot of what I first started doing was, using AI to help write the basics of what I needed, because I knew the structure I wanted. So I had AI kind of starting to lay out frameworks. And then I had to finally, as I started understanding more and more how Go worked, I was finding myself editing Go a lot because, you know, AI is stupid. AI is great at dropping code down, but I spent a lot of time in those first 4 or 5 months refactoring. And it wasn't so much that the code wasn't good or functional, it's just inconsistent. A lot of times it would create one service totally different from the other. And I was like, why are you creating these? These don't even look the same, but they do. Yeah, I want them all to be the same. This one works the way I want it. I like the way it's laid out. Make them all the same. So now I say, okay, when I create a new service, I say model a new service after this service, and it's for this purpose or whatever, and it'll help me build up a new service. Building services in Go, and I have a feeling it's building services in any language, is a complicated process. It's just because it's just got a lot of parts, a lot of pieces you got to create for it. It's no less for me to create a Go service that works with my gateway and has all of the base files and functions that I need. This is not even counting what the service is supposed to do. It has, you know, probably 7 files and probably a couple hundred lines of code just to get it set up. And so if I can get AI to do some of that stuff, saves me a lot of time. I mean, it would probably take me a couple days to replicate, and I'd probably still miss stuff because you got the 5 or 6 files that got to go in your service. You've got your proto files, your gateway files. You got a number of gateway files, and each one of those have multiple functions in each file. You got your service, your types, your store, your handler, your main, and then you got your multiple. So there's a lot of stuff, and they all have functions that all have to tie together. And I was like, okay, usually AI can model it, and I'll say just basically make it the same. And what's nice is if I do it, and it, you know, like I do a copy paste and then just try to change the names, I'm gonna miss stuff. It's just gonna happen. And if I try to type it, I'm definitely going to miss stuff. But AI, it basically copies paste. It'll create the exact same thing, but it'll rename everything the way it needs to be renamed because you have this new thing, and so it's changing everything. And it just gets it right. It's just that's the one of the things that it excels at is creating long-winded frameworks for whatever things you're working on. If it has a good model to work off, it'll generate a copy for you. And that's what I need for a lot of my services. I just need a copy. Well, yeah, C++ is, yeah, I didn't mention C++, but you're right. That's kind of like the base tool. C++ is used for everything, right? I mean, C++ created most of the languages that are used. It's like the base, it's the daddy of programming languages, right? And half of these languages out there were created from C++. So, yeah, I mean, that's a given. C++ is everything. But really it comes down to now, what's the goal, what you want, what's easy for you. But the reason, you're right, C++ is big on PC games to a point, because a lot of people just write their own game engines. Because you need a game engine for most graphical stuff. But a lot of people will write their own, and that's when they get into like using C++ or other tools that can write game engines. But if you're not going to write your own game engine, it's a lot of work. C++ gives you really low-level control over everything. It's just to the point where you don't really want that low level of control most of the time. You know, C#, Go, Java, these tools handle a lot of that low level crap for you. So you don't have to. And so I actually am building my game with the thought of mobile being the objective, but it doesn't mean that it can't work because Go is my back-end services. It's going to be not on the phone. Here's the thing. I would love my phone portion of my game to be able to stand alone. As in, I was just thinking about it when I went camping this summer. I was like, man, I would love to have my game and play it. But then I'm like, but it's going to be connected to a server and it won't work. So I really want to create an offline version where you can do some stuff, some games, some of the game functionality, you know, run some of your, maybe play an offline league. Problem with that is that means I got to put all the data and all of the services and all the functionality on the phone. And I don't know if I'm going to do that in the first release. As much as I would love for that to be the case, I just think that that might be more. I haven't figured out how to do that because I want to be able to create an offline database that syncs with the online database so that when you do run offline, you're getting your functionality, your whatever you've done transfers over to your root data, so that if you're playing on another app, another console, or you know, whatever it is, you'll get all your data. I don't know anybody. I would love to know anybody who's attempted to create a game in Fortran. But you know, there's a couple of these guys. If you watch, is it Jonathan Brush or something Brush? What's his name, John? He's a online YouTube guy who interviews a lot of indie game developers. Thomas Brush. I think it's Thomas Brush. And it's interesting, some of the people he talks to. Some of those guys, they did that. They created their own game engines, and they created they created all these tools that they use for their game development. And I think that's cool. But that seems like, man, but all the time they spent building those tools probably really slowed down their actually getting their games done. That's me, right? So like I got distracted by creating ClickUp Link. I probably took 3 or 4 weeks out of my game development. But my thought is it's going to save me time in the long run, because now I'm actually going to be using my project. Because here's one of the big problems with using a lot of these project management tools. They're not convenient. When I'm working in my code, I don't want to be going back and forth to ClickUp. I don't want to be going back there, clicking on, trying to update stuff. This is what I'm working on. Go find the item in there. Go to my sprint. Go over here. I just don't like that. I like to be able to edit it right in my code. And it just kind of gets to my nerves. What is this? Malphone. First letter after test must be lowercase. It is. What are you talking about? It's not complaining about this one. Oh, is this supposed to be like lowercase test? Maybe it's backwards. How is these other tests? No, big. All right, well, these are all AI. You're stupid. AI wrote my tests, but sometimes it puts lowercase test, big letter. Sometimes it puts big letter and big letter. And sometimes it puts little letter, big letter. And here we got big letter, little letter. And this one's broken. Windows 3.1, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that struggle with upgrading. I think, something like a railway system, though, it's kind of like one of those things you don't want to get wrong, right? You don't want to break the system. So it's a scary thing to build a system and then say, all right, we need to upgrade to a whole new OS. And I think a lot of times they're just afraid to make that transition. It's wait, can I make this? Can I fix this? All right. Fixed. Done and done. I don't know what, that was weird. Yeah, because there's nobody, all the hackers out there don't want to bother trying to hack 3.1. It's like, I don't want to work in that old over OS. You get to the point where nobody even knows you're out there. It's like they're all focusing on what exists right now. They don't know someone's out there using some old tech, so they're not even trying to hack them. They're hiding. They're hiding using their. It's like somebody who's out there who uses notepad and paper to keep track of stuff anymore, right? Nobody's expecting that. So when we get hit with the big EMP that, or the solar flare that wipes out all the electronics in the world, the people who are still using notepad and paper are like, so they're going to pull out their notepad and paper and they'll have all their records. They'll have all they need to keep communicating. While the rest of the world panics and freaks out. You know, they say that solar flares that have actually hit the Earth as recently as the last 100+ years are capable of wiping out a whole hemisphere of the planet, electronics. And I mean, that's kind of like, wow. And it's like they would be out for weeks, if not months, but before they could get them all fixed again, because they would be damaged or destroyed, which is very kind of disconcerting to think. And they say, yeah, we're kind of due for one of those solar flares to hit the planet. It's like, really? That's like a biblical proportion problem there. Wipe out everybody's electronics. We're gonna go back to caveman times, because we're like, what the heck are we supposed to do? We have no electronics. Think about what our world would be with zero electronics. I mean, where would we be? I mean, no more video games. Oh God. We had to get out the chessboard and the Monopoly board. All those people who've been collecting board games, they're going to be ready for the solar flare. Because I have a big closet full of board games. Because when the solar flare comes and wipes out all of our digital entertainment, we're going to be wishing we had some board games. If of course we could figure out how to eat and, you know, keep ourselves warm for all those people who don't have working fireplaces and in their house. Because a lot of people a lot of houses aren't even built with fireplaces anymore. Not all of them have fireplaces. Think about that. If you have a house that doesn't have a fireplace and we lose power, what do those people do? They can't. It's like you can't throw a log on. I mean, you can't put a space heater in. You can't. There's no way to get heat. You could try to use a generator if you're somebody who has one, but rest assured, if you don't have a generator when all the world's power go out, you ain't getting a generator, because you and every other person on the planet's gonna be trying to get themselves a generator. So yeah, you're gonna be hurting. And I don't know, do generators still work with the giant EMP that wipes out electronics? Will it destroy? I think electronics that aren't on are safe, right? From I don't know. I mean, electronics that you have some way, like if you have a battery, will batteries still work? Like you have a big giant battery? I don't know. See, I did it again. I derailed myself into talking about crazy stuff. All right, where was I? Let's see. We were talking, and all that started with me just talking about things that were on topic, but somehow I jumped off the rails. So good at jumping off the rails. What is the correct way to do this? I don't like this. What is this? Could use tagged switch on group name. What? Sure, why not? Cleaning up my code a little bit. I don't like it. I don't like seeing weird bugs or weird errors. Some of them are just warnings and stuff, but still bugs me. It's my anal programmer. All right, let's go see if I get this to run right. All right, so I still have to fix this. I got so distracted I forgot what I was trying to do. All right, so we're back to here. Games played, not started mod. Is that the bonus they're getting? Games started. Games played. All right, so we will. All right, let's go create this. Go over here. Go to my system init. Scroll modifiers. This is under individual. Oh, I see. I have it. It is. It's right there. I just named it different. Go back over here. There we go. All right, so we got that. I guess the advantage is to creating something cool out of an old language is you can't be replaced. You know, for a while there, my last job was kind of like that. I developed and what turned into an old language, a report controller. They have like 300 some reports, and at the time it was pretty good when I built it. I mean, it was a very capable tool that I created using C# and SQL Server programming. So basically, it was an application written as SQL Server. Its job was to execute reports based on the batch processing of the nightly jobs. So nightly jobs would call my controller would go, okay, these batches are done, run these reports related to the completed batches. And then when new batches would complete, new batch processing would complete, it would run whatever reports are related to those. And it allowed them to have these reports ready as quickly as possible for the morning crew that comes in and needed their reports. There was like 300 of them and variations of these reports. So there might be 300 reports, but there might be 450 total in variations. So there was a bunch of these things. So my system would do all that, would manage the reports. You could manipulate which versions you had. You can tweak their parameters and whatever, all through this web UI I created that was written in ASPX, HTML and ASPX. But, you know, years go on, and I was the only one who knew how to run this app. I mean, I trained a few people, but they would leave or go to another team or whatever. The company was always reorganizing crap. So I was always losing the people who were learning it. And so it's not my fault, you know, I tried. And COVID came, and the company panicked and laid a bunch of people off, but they go, to make this fair, we just decided to randomly pick people. And I'm serious. They randomly laid off almost 300 people that was about a tenth of their people, just because they were afraid of the potential of reduced income, which never happened because they're an insurance company. And guess what? People still need insurance. So they never lost. In fact, they did really well during COVID. And but what they did is they basically shot themselves in one foot and stabbed themselves in the other. Because when you randomly get rid of people, you lose all kinds of important people in the company, and they were screwed. I mean, people were, after that, a bunch of people quit because they were suddenly thrown into positions they didn't know what to do. I mean, it was just a big mess. So almost a year later, they called me back and go, "Hey, we want to hire you back." So I ended up coming back and got a big raise, and they basically begged me to come back. It's because they needed me to work. And they were trying to replace my tool. They kept saying they wanted to find a tool that was going to, that did the same thing they didn't have to manage. And I was like helping them try to find the tool that did. And I said, okay, fine. Well, find a tool that does what this does. And they couldn't find one. They never found a tool. As far as I know, my application is still being ran there, except now they don't have anybody there who knows how to run it or knows how to edit it. They know how to use it. I mean, it's all automated. So somebody can go in there and fix it, but most of them wouldn't, it's a problem because they didn't, I'm sure they figured out something eventually. I'm curious. I would love to reach out to the company, some friends or contacts there, and go, hey, they did lay me off again. That's a whole story, but that's why I've been unemployed for over a year. I ended up on another team. This other team was a mess. Yeah, things just, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah. Now here I am, making a game. trying to find a way to make my own money and not have to rely on the fact that nobody wants to call me when I apply for jobs. 300 job applications later, here I am working on my own game. Which, by the way, is a lot more fun than the stuff I was doing before. All right, so that's in place. That's in place. Let's go ahead and cleaned up some stuff. I should be able to get a better layer of feedback. See, kickoff skill. Let's go look at kickoff skill. I'm wondering why some of these aren't getting full results. Get kickoff skill. Because everybody, see, this one says if you don't have any attempts, run this function. So that means everybody should be getting something. So is it that it's not being called? Because it says only 45 players got kickoff skill, but it doesn't make sense. Because we have, if you don't have a kickoff attempt, they get this value. All right, let's see here. Let's ask. Let's see if AI can figure out what's going on. Heck. Keep it with that. All right. So I ran a create system players function from the service.go in player skills service, and I'm noticing, and all players should get at least a minimum for all skills, but it seems some of the skills are only returning values for some of the players. For example, kickoff skill. get off skill. Only returned skills for 45 players. Skills calculator. Where is this? No. Skills calculator. Alright, so it is in service. Then it runs down. Oh, it's just reading straight from the database. It's just going in. All this is doing is at the end finding those players who have these skills. Huh. So it's either very bad at counting, but some of them, like base conditioning, got everybody. Overall accuracy seemed to get most of everybody. Where's the other accuracies? Like I don't have BLS here. I don't even know if that's... Where is that? That's field goal accuracy. Let's call this what it is. Field goal accuracy. Oh, nope. Yeah. Ignore me. Oh, wait. That's passing accuracy. Never mind. See, that's why it has to be named correctly the first time. Pass accuracy. There we go. And this is field goal accuracy, but you can see I didn't even put... There we go. Better naming. There we go. Now at least I'll know what it's talking about. Still not sure why I get some values and I don't get others. So overall accuracy, this is QB passing. Let's go look at my QB stats. QB skills. Accuracy. So is it a matter of... Nope. Let's change this. Okay. Just trying to get myself better readability here. Still not fully explaining why some of these are coming back with nons. How much time? Ah, I've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. That's too long for a single episode. Too long for single episodes. So let's run this one more time. Let's make sure everybody's saved. And then I dump the player pool. And this will give me a better and I guess I can get rid of that one too. All right. So I shouldn't get quite as much clutter here. I'll still probably get quite a bit, but it shouldn't be as bad. It's already better, I can tell. It's not dropping as much garbage. A lot of just player names and stuff, which is fine. What players are getting processed works pretty good. And it should call out bugs and or things that are missing data a lot more consistently. But it's got to do 1,500 players or 1,480 something. I don't know what the big things that are going through here. Update, can't read it. It's too fast, but scaling values updated during skill calc, recalculating skills. Oh, okay. It's really interesting. See how this is doing this? This is correct, but I'm not sure why it's doing it 4 times, because it should only do it once, because it runs through all the players and then it's supposed to check to see if it changed when all the players were ran. And that should have pushed the number down as far as it can go. So I'm not sure why it didn't work, but oops, I got field goal attempt overall didn't get calculated, so I got one missing there. Definitely got to go fix that one. Inserting 1484 players successfully inserted 1484 was successfully calculated, and setting player skill ratings using default rating range 199 failed to load from skill control modifiers. Mongo no documents in result. Player pool, scaling values, player stats. Those are the only 3 that I changed. Let's go fix this one though. Field goal attempts overall. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it for this session. Oh, it wasn't done. Still got a lot of guys that did not get values. Still got kickoff skill here. Only got 45 players. So I got a number of guys that, these are all of my skills right here. Which is fine, but you can see they're not all processing like they're supposed to. And I'm not sure why. So I got some work to do. I'll take a look at that and see if I can get it fixed. I'm going to stop for a bit. I will be back probably in the next hour or so, maybe by 12:30, and I'll start another session, see if I can get this done. Till then, God bless.